I've always said it's a matter of when, not if, when it comes to Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan becoming an NFL head coach. This could be the week that happens. Thoughts on Callahan, where he might be the favorite to land, plus who could replace him as Bengals offensive coordinator. Let's get into that and more right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell. Make sure you check out our show, Enter the Jungle, every Tuesday at 8 Eastern, right here on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. And today's video brought to you by Rivertown Inkery, rivertowninkery.com. You see it. You can see the little waves, baby. It's that Rivertown Inkery swag. Get yours at rivertowninkery.com. Brian Callahan, well, he's about to get his. He's about to get his bread. There's no doubt about it. Set to become a head coach, it feels like, and the only dilemma is where. And he has 3 in-person interviews scheduled. Second interviews, he met with 4 different teams via Zoom over the past couple of weeks. Now that the divisional round has passed, the Bengals offensive coordinator can meet in person, and he's meeting in person with the Tennessee Titans on Monday. Also has in-person interviews scheduled with the Falcons and the Panthers. Here's what I know, and I'm going to get into how this could impact the Bengals search. A lot of you, especially when you saw the Dan Pitcher news, and heck, we did this on Locked On our recent show, one of our recent shows. Could Dan Pitcher, the Bengals quarterbacks coach, also get hired? And that element is interesting. And he could take an offensive coordinator job somewhere. I've heard the Saints obviously interested in him, or the Patriots might be interested in him. There's a couple teams interested in Dan Pitcher's services, and that's before these head coaching jobs are filled. But the reason why I'm not worried about Brian Callahan stealing Dan Pitcher, which is a discussion that some have talked about, is because I look at Brian and I look at these jobs, and whether it's the Tennessee Titans job, young quarterback, sort of a rebuild, the Atlanta Falcons job, who I think he's on the outside looking in realistically when it comes to being the next head coach of the Falcons, Bill Belichick, Jim Harbaugh. There are some other guys that I think are ahead of him. And then the Carolina Panthers job with Bryce Young, you either have no quarterback or young quarterbacks. You're wondering who the quarterback is going to be, or if that quarterback you have can be the guy. And so if you're Brian Callahan and you're going into that situation, are you going to let someone else call your own plays? No. Not when you watch Zac Taylor have success calling his plays. And I know we could debate that and discuss that. Point is, Brian Callahan's going to call his own plays when he gets a head coaching job. And whether that's in Carolina, whether that's in Tennessee, or whether that's in Atlanta, and that's how I would rank them. I think he's one of the favorites, if not the favorite in Carolina to get that job. It's probably the worst job of the 3. Not probably, it is. I think he's very much in the mix in Tennessee. And then Atlanta seems a bit unlikely. He hasn't gotten a second interview with the Chargers, at least as I record this. So that's how I would rank them. But as far as Dan Pitcher is concerned, the reason why I think Dan Pitcher would return and be promoted to the Bengals offensive coordinator spot, it's pretty simple. And he's currently the Bengals quarterbacks coach, for those wondering and that don't know. He could go with Brian, but do you want to not call plays for Bryce Young, or not call plays for Will Levis, or not call plays for insert whoever the Atlanta Falcons quarterback is? Or do you want to not call plays for Joe Burrow? That's pretty simple. Now, you could make the argument if New England has a formal interview with Dan Pitcher, call plays there, be the guy there, make it your offense there, and do it with the 3rd overall pick, which very well could be Jaden Daniels, very well could be one of these high-end quarterbacks in this class. I get that. I do. But I still think Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, the structure and the infrastructure, knowing where you're at, not having to move your family, still being an offensive coordinator, still having that title, still getting interviews for head coaching jobs down the line, and that's what his goal would ultimately be. I think all of that's realistic. So if I had to guess today, I would say Brian Callahan is going to be the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers or the Tennessee Titans. If I had to guess today, I would say Dan Pitcher is going to replace him as Bengals offensive coordinator. And then who replaces the quarterback's coach if Pitcher gets elevated? I think Brad Cragthorpe could certainly do that internally. Point is, a lot of options there. Another option I'll throw out as far as offensive coordinator goes, let's just say that Dan Pitcher took the Patriots job. Let's just throw that out there. Let's just say he took the offensive coordinator job in New England. Troy Walters, to me, would be an interesting candidate for that wide receivers coach to offensive coordinator. So we'll see. They do have some internal candidates. Ultimately, I think they hold on to Dan Pitcher. I know people are fretting and worried, at least some. I'm not. I think they'll be able to fill this internally to a degree. That doesn't mean they won't bring in a fresh set of eyes, assistant quarterbacks coach or something like that. They might, and I get why people are asking about that. And then one more just to cross this box off, Joe Brady, he's the Bills offensive coordinator. Now they lost on Sunday. Could something happen where they have a whole coaching shakeup? Sure. But I highly doubt it, especially because Brady did a good job there. So unless they move on from that entire staff, I would expect him to stay put in Buffalo. We're going to have a ton this week as the Bengals offseason rolls on. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and we'll have the latest if Brian Callahan does take a job. Like I said, I think he ends up in Carolina. If I had to guess, Tennessee's a close second. Atlanta on the outside looking in. Who knows? Maybe he'll take that Atlanta job and surprise me and surprise a lot of people. But until next time, for Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien. Get to Rivertown Inkery and rivertowninkery.com. And thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.